Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inclusive Perspectives from the Baseline. My name is Erica Nelson-Flowers. I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for USTA Texas, and I'm excited for today's conversation in celebration of Pride Month. As you all have heard me say many times, we're going to celebrate what makes Texas tennis special beyond just a particular day or month. But I'm really excited by my panelists and hope you enjoy our conversation as well. So before we begin, I'm going to ask each of our panelists to please give us your name, the club that you represent, and the name of your tournament. And we'll start with you, Mojo.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. So my name is Mojo Canales, and I am currently the active president at the Austin Tennis Club in Austin, Texas. That's actually getting ready to change. We have our elections that just finished. And I am also, for the past 2 years, have been the Heart of Texas Classic, which is the name of our tournament in Austin for LGBTQIA. I've been the tournament director for that.
Thank you, Nate.
I'm Nate Barnett. I am the executive director for the Oakland Tennis Association in Dallas, Texas. Our acronym is OTA. And I am also the tournament director for the Texas Open, which is held here annually in Dallas in October. And yeah, I think that's it.
Philip.
My name is Philip Nelson. I am here on behalf of Houston Tennis Club in Texas this year as well as last year. The position I've held is co-tournament director, which we call HOUTEX. This year, HOUTEX 42 will take place in November.
Thank you. So good opportunity for anyone who is a tennis fan or wants to get in some good action there. I know that Nate's event there in Dallas, as well as Philip's, coming up in the second half of the year. So, well, we're going to start out. Nate, we're going to start with you with this first question. So tell us a little bit about your tennis journey. How did you end up in the place that you are, and how did you get started? And tell us a little bit about your club and your tournament.
I have been liking tennis since I was a youth. My aunt worked for the Parks Department in the city of Dallas, and she was the first person to put a tennis racket in my hand when I was like 10 years old, but I never played as a youth or a young adult, maybe sparingly, like once a year. I would watch it faithfully on TV all the time, and I grew up watching like Wimbledon and the US Open, which were shown on regular TV, and just grew to love watching tennis. And it wasn't until about 10 years ago that a friend of mine that I met in Atlanta told me, if you want to play tennis regularly, just go to a tennis center and start taking some adult lessons, and you'll start meeting people. And that's exactly what I did. And lo and behold, now I'm the president of a tennis group and running a tournament. So go figure. But I love playing tennis. I am the president of the Oakland Tennis Association that I mentioned earlier. It has been in existence since 1979. And it started from what I've been told as a group of friends who were not allowed to participate in like country clubs or other, specialized tennis groups because they were gay. And so they started playing as a group of friends at a public park, and it just started to grow, being in a safe space where they could play with people who are like-minded and love tennis as well. And the club has just been growing ever since. And in 1980, they decided to host a tournament, which became the first tournament, gay tournament of any note that anyone could recall. And they just invited people, outside of Dallas to come and participate in the tournament. And it's been happening annually ever since. So it's one of the oldest tournaments in the country, specifically for gay people. And I believe that later on, they were asked to be one of the founding members of the GLTA circuit, which is a circuit of gay tennis tournaments all around the world now. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about my club. We are a small group. We have about 60 members right now. We play regularly 3 times a week at different locations around the city of Dallas, and we're open to everyone. You don't have to be in the LGBTQ community. You can be anybody, but we do cater to the LGBT community to make sure that we have a safe space to play and to express yourselves and to be accepted amongst other people. So,
love it. Thank you, Philip.
Yeah, so I'm a little different than Nate. I started playing tennis probably at the age of probably 6 years old. My father was a high school tennis coach, and so he ran summer programs for many, many years, and that's kind of what got my foot in the door. From there, my uncle, my dad's brother, did the same thing in a smaller town called Ada, Oklahoma, and so I would go spend my summers in Ada. Live, sleep, eat, breathe tennis, sun up, sundown. I was out there on the courts. You could hardly get me off. Take me to high school and then college. I went to a small Division II college to continue playing. After that, I said, tennis is not for me. I was kind of burnt out. Gave up tennis for probably like 6-ish years, I want to say. I may have played like 1 or 2 times jokingly in that span. But for the most part, I was done with it. Moved down to Houston in 2017. And just by chance, my husband and I were renting out a room on Airbnb, and we happened to have a guest that was in town for business and said, hey, do you play for Houston Tennis Club? And being from Oklahoma, pretty small, pretty like non-existent LGBTQ tennis community, or at least an organized in a sense. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I simply Google it, and boom, I'm out there the next week and have been a part of Houston Tennis Club since then. And now I am co-directing the tournament. Last year, again, this is my 2nd year doing that, along with the infamous Christopher Shepard. So it has been a joy. I can wholeheartedly say that the majority of my friends that I have made in Houston, being relatively new here, but established definitely by at this point, are from the club. And so it has brought about many friendships, and definitely helps to have members of the LGBTQIA community out there alongside you on the courts. We play Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. We're sitting at about 78 members right now, hoping to grow that. Last year we ended with over 100. So looking to build off of that, and I think we can. So it's been a blast so far, and ready to see where Houston Tennis Club can go.
And I think thank you for that. And I think similar to Nate's journey is you had no idea where it was going to lead you in terms of the leadership role that that sounds like landed in your lap. I don't know if you aspire to that, but it's been great that you've been able to kind of have that progression.
Yes.
Mojo, tell us a little bit about your tennis journey and club, your tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey is a little different actually from both Philip and Nate. I played soccer all through grade school, high school, and in college. And once I finished college, I decided that I wanted to continue sports. And so I was playing soccer, but I couldn't find the community that I was looking for. There was no LGBTQIA soccer group at the time. And so I kind of started Googling things and looking for information, or I guess back then it wasn't even Googling. It was more like word of mouth, because I am old enough to where Google is, I predate Google. But I went around and found someone who was a part of the Austin Tennis Club. And like, if you kind of dug deep enough, you could actually find that they were an LGBTQI organization. And so I was like, well, I don't play tennis, but I'm willing to learn so I can find a community, because I really enjoy our gay community. But a lot of it, there's a lot of pressure to, when you're at a bar and to do different things, you have to have a certain facade up. But when you play sports, it kind of breaks down some of those walls. So that's what I was really looking for. And so I joined tennis, learned how to play. It was a very long, slow process in the beginning for me, trying to compete with people. But I eventually got there, and I met some of my best friends in my life. I have traveled all over the country because of GLTA and because of the Austin Tennis Club. And it really basically gave me the sense of community that I wanted. And I can also do it through the competitive angle, which, playing sports in college was one of those things that I really enjoyed about life and was the outlet that I needed away from work. So Austin Tennis Club itself, I started playing in 2002, but I think they started in 1999. I can't guarantee you. I think that's when they became official. And their first tournament was in 2001. I have been on and off the board for I guess, a course of either 12 or 13 years. I kind of come on and come off when we're needed. I enjoy some of the leadership roles. I like helping people out, but I'm not necessarily always a fan of the work that comes with it. But it is definitely worth it for the amount of friendships that I've gotten out of it. We are a little bit of a smaller organization. We've kind of gone up and down. Our biggest problem in Austin is just the lack of courts that we have access to. There are 3 facilities that we can play out of. So in those 3 facilities, for us to kind of finagle and get courts, that's where we are always challenged. And so we have about, right now, I think we have 50, what we call full-time members. And then anyone can drop into one of our sessions for $5.50. It covers the court fees, the balls, all that kind of stuff. And, I would say there's probably about another 30 to 40 people throughout the year that I would call fringe members that kind of just drop in when they feel like they can. Obviously, we don't discriminate against anyone. We have allies that play with us. We have, LGBT community. We have all gender affirmant, any type of identity that comes out and plays. We play Tuesday, Friday, and Sundays right now. Sundays usually falls off in the summer because it just gets a little too hot, and people are usually pretty drunk on the weekends because of it. So we tend to lose some of our attendance. So we kind of ramp those up and down on the east side of Austin, depending on the need and desire. But, it's one of the great things about our tournament is obviously we've had a lot of different tournament directors. And, these past couple of years, we've kind of done a pretty good job of trying to turn it around and make it something that everyone enjoys doing. And the end goal for us is always the raising the money portion. At the end of the day, that sense of community is awesome. But if you can do something to better the community, it's even, that icing on the cake for you. So we've turned our turnaround a little bit. Obviously, year to year, you never know what's going to happen. But that's one of the things I think that we're proudest at here in Austin is that we were able to donate over $14,000 each year to our organization for the last couple of years. So.
Love it. Congratulations. Yeah, I'm hearing a theme between the 3 of you, and it's around a sense of community, right? It's regardless of your path to tennis, having people that you feel like you can just go out on the court, and it's a great equalizer with other things. You don't have to be dressed a certain way. You can just go out and, your skill level is not the utmost importance, certainly outside of the tournaments that you all run. So I love that. And I think that regardless of your sexual orientation, I think that people can relate to that. So just kind of hearing about your different clubs, it sounds like of the 3, OLTA is the longest standing, the oldest of the group. Am I right, Nate?
I believe so, yeah. I think that's one of our distinctions.
Okay, a lot to be proud of. And the youngest would be of the 3?
San Antonio would probably be the youngest, right?
Yeah.
But
the 3 of us in Austin, San Antonio is definitely the youngest. And I think Felix is trying to call in.
I'm here.
Okay. Felix, hi. Thanks for joining us. Okay, San Antonio in the house. Well, Felix, I'm going to throw this question at you. Thank you for joining us. We're happy to have you by phone or any way that work with your schedule. So if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your tennis journey, and your club and your tournament.
Myself, I've been playing on and off roughly over 40 years. Started when I was 13. Then a mentor and coach throughout the years as well. Recently coming back, actually, from a couple of injuries. San Antonio is actually where I am the tournament director. I do reside out of Maine or Texas, though. And it's been 2 years since I've been doing the tournament here. The one in San Antonio. And called the Alamo City Tennis Classic. Not sure what else to say. It's usually played, and it's probably the hottest tournament in Texas of the four, I can tell you.
Can you tell us, just for the sake of our audience, first name, last name, your title with your club, and then the name of your tennis tournament? And I think you mentioned that, but just so we can have all that encapsulated.
Oh yeah, the Alamo City Tennis Tournament, and then my name is Felix Almodovar. I'm the tournament director and events coordinator for the Tennis Club of San Antonio.
Beautiful. Thank you, Felix. So how would you all describe, amongst the four of you, and anyone can answer, so how would you describe the LGBTQ tennis scene in the state of Texas?
Don't everybody jump.
Yeah, it's my fault. Sorry, I'm talking away and I'm on mute. I always do that in the meeting. But I was gonna say, I've been a part of my club for 20 years, and I think one of the things that I've noticed is we go through ebbs and flows of the LGBT community. Like, we have times in our, I've seen times in our life cycle where our club is very competitive, and it's about going out and competing hard. And then I've seen, right now, we're kind of in a cycle of everyone's just kind of a big family and we're out to have fun, and it's not out to go play as many tournaments as we can or be as competitive. I feel like the people who come out and join us, if they have some general tennis skill, they usually tend to stick with us and have a good time right now. But like I said, we've had different flows in the 20 years that I've been a part of the club, where it kind of changes depending on what the feeling of the club is. And I think that kind of also sets the tone for the type of individuals that start showing up and coming out on a regular basis. And I feel like in general, we could do better as a club to kind of pull more people in. Our biggest, not necessarily negative, but our biggest thing that we are always kind of combating and trying to represent more of is the individuals who identify as women or as female. We don't tend to have them stick around for very long. And so we're always trying initiatives to keep that going. And I know, just in general, it's one of our biggest challenges here at Austin Tennis Club. And we're always looking to improve that aspect of it. And I would love to have the queer community as a whole feel like they're included. We don't want to ever feel like we're pushing any group out. So.
Gotcha. Thanks.
I agree with Mojo with regards to how our club operates. I've been a member of ULTA since 2017, so about 6 years. And in that time frame, I've noticed that we have been more of a social club than a competitive tennis club. It's our level of players are intermediate. We don't have a whole bunch of advanced players, but we have a lot of fun competing against each other. And like Austin, we have here in Dallas, we have a predominantly lesbian group called City that serves the role for the L part of the LGBT with regards to playing tennis. And we've tried on a number of occasions to combine our two groups on special occasions, different functions. And we've had a lot of them participate in our tournament some years, but in some years they compete in USTA events that are at the same time. So we don't have that, member group in our tournament. So we've been trying to reach out, some different ways to get more people involved, because like all the other groups, we try to serve the broad spectrum of the entire community. It's not that we prohibited anybody from being in it, but we also want to make sure that people are comfortable with playing with us. Another thing about our group is we tend to be on the older side because we play a lot of doubles, and a lot of the younger players want to play singles, and we don't have a lot of singles playing in our group. So we're trying to add that component to us as well so that we can attract the younger groups to play singles and doubles, because I think the younger players don't mind covering the entire court themselves, as far as the older groups, they're like, I'm happy with just covering half of the court and being at the net and points be short. So, we're trying to, and we have a lot of different types of different events with our group, such as we do Sunday brunches, and we do social events like pool parties. And this year we had a pride parade for the first time. So we're trying to get exposure and bring in more people through camaraderie, as well as playing tennis. And I think that being a part of the GLTA circuit really is great for us, because I recently just got back from Croatia participating in a tournament there, and gave away a free entry to our tournament so that some of the Europeans would come over to, the United States and play. And I think that really helps, broaden our horizons and our scope and draws people to us. So we are working on trying to be, more competitive, get more people interested in playing tennis that have never considered playing tennis, and be a part of the LGBTQ community.
Thank you for that. And for all of you, definitely see us, USTA, and me specifically, as a resource for you in terms of creating some of that awareness. I think a lot of times people aren't able to participate in something because they just didn't know. So let's together collectively see how we can collaborate and just support what each of you are doing, because we want to grow the sport across all levels of tennis and all identities. And this state is too big for us to not get more people on the tennis court. I think part of what Nate was saying that made me smile was around the idea that, not everybody wants to cover the whole court. And that is not a queer LGBTQ thing. That is just anybody who is playing doubles. There's probably a subset who literally is playing it because they just don't want to have to work that hard. So, or maybe I'm just talking about myself. But that being said, so I mean, Felix, say that 5 times fast. Would you agree in terms of seeing more players? I think if I'm generalizing what I'm hearing from Nate and Mojo is there are more people who are leaning towards just that social aspect, that level of community, as opposed to want to competitively play tennis. Is that what you're saying as you travel around, but even in your specific areas?
Well, what I tried to do the past couple of years, because we do have a member who is transgender, and she identifies as a woman, and she doesn't feel comfortable in playing on the men's bracket. So I've tried to incorporate women's bracket in our tournament. Last year, I was successful to hold a couple of draws. This year, unfortunately, I wasn't. But this new year, I'm going to be working actually with 2 of the tournament directors from the USTA in the region, and they're both help me get to know some of the individuals that might have some good outreach contacts there in the San Antonio area, so we can maybe possibly incorporate that, because I think that would help with that community. And I kind of see it outside looking in, because I work in the field of HIV, so we don't look at anything specific. We want everything to kind of be across the board and equal. So I look at it a little different than other tournament directors, because I want to see both having a men's and women's bracket. I did have an individual, one of the entry participants this year, come up and discuss the fact that he was upset that women played in the men's bracket because he lost to a woman. And unfortunately, women, that's all we had open was for the women to play in the men's bracket, which they had the opportunity to do so. And I had to help them understand that, we want to be all inclusive. As far as I see tournaments, in the way I live my life, I don't want to exclude anybody from anything. whether I may agree with the lifestyle or religion, or learn from us. So I do see a change. I know in our area, there's the older group is still active, and we're trying to work on trying to incorporate the younger generation to come in, trying to encourage them to maybe join the board, be a part of the board, or I had some come in and help with the tournament itself. So I'm trying to make changes, and hopefully they're for the better, because like I said, I want to be all inclusive, and I want to include everybody in the tournament, and then that'll just help our organization grow as well.
Love it. And I love your intentionality there about just, being inclusive and allowing everybody to feel welcome and to be seen. That's really, really important. Philip, it looked like you wanted to add something there before Felix jumped in.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to calm my dog down so you don't have to squeaky toy. But I cheated a little bit before today, just with a couple of the questions. So I reached out to one of our, I think, original members. The history of the club, gave me the start year, told us that Dallas barely beat us, getting that out. But our first tournament. But speaking with him, and since 2018, a struggle that has been a common theme is getting those men to come. However, that last weekend we just partnered with USTA to play a tournament called We Play for Pride. And so what happened is a lot of members from HTC went out there. And so we kind of got to a little more intertwined with another huge club here called HTA, which is Houston Nation. And so what we are trying to do now is work with them to create an event which we call and so what that looks like is it's a night of fun. You're out there, you're on a timed clock. If you're winning, you move up a court while the other court moves down. So you end up playing with many, many, many different people, getting to, interact with many different people. It's definitely a social event. You'll have those who are competitive, but we try to save the competitive ones more for Sunday mornings. We have 2 sessions where we try to keep the first session competitive, and then the second session we try to mix it up a little bit, because what we are trying to do a lot better at that is not necessarily a strength of ours is how do we include members that are brand new to the sport or that are at a lower level, because I will say for the most part for our club, we do have a lot of GOTA instead of on a point scale is based on open A, B, C, D. So we pretty A club. And so what we're trying to brainstorm about and come up with fun how to hold on to those C and those D players without, for lack of a better word, like intimidating them on their first time out. Do we have drill sessions? And we've tried that. But going back to Mojo, saying we're limited on where we can host drill sessions because technically it's pros out of these public facilities. So they kind of have an issue with that. So we run into a couple different obstacles that we still try to figure out how we can overcome. But so ours definitely is trying to incorporate more of those identifying as women, and then also those how do we hang on to those newer tennis players or the D level players. And so we'll always take suggestions from any of my sister cities, but that's one of our struggles. Sure.
Yeah, and we had a similar struggle with lower level players because we get a lot of people who are beginners. And like I said, our club is older. And so they want to be able to play with people who are on their level and not specifically playing brand new people who can't keep the ball in play and so forth. So we started a drill session called Cherry Pop, which we run once a month for people who are new to tennis or people who are getting back into tennis, to help them, brush up on their skills or learn skills and start to try to be more competitive so that they can feel less intimidated by playing in the group with the other players, as well as, playing amongst each other. And so that helps us to retain some of the lower level players.
Yeah, and we do something a little similar. We call it open house, and we do an open house event. All of our members that are full, that are paid members are welcome to come out, but it's really geared towards people who are new to tennis. And we have luckily worked out with one of our organizations that we partner with for courts, that we say we're not going to teach them tennis, but we're going to hit balls at them. So that way they get the sense of what it's like to play, and we'll play little mini games. So we've kind of got that as a workaround. And then when it comes to tennis lessons, what we do is we say, now, if you want to take a lesson, the facility we're at has a great starting program. So we kind of do a little bit of advertisement for them in a way to trade off to allow us to do something like that, where we're not giving them instruction, but just letting them play games and learn how to do things. Now, transitioning those people into full-time members and wanting to come out and play every week, we kind of have our board works with the individuals. So if someone new shows up that doesn't know how to play, I'll be the person that reaches out to that one individual and say, hey, do you want to go hit? Do you want to come over to my local HOA? And I have a court, we can practice. And so sometimes that works for us. And sometimes they come out once and they decide that they're done. So it kind of has a little bit of a mixed bag. But those are the only things that we've been able to employ to try to get our younger level player, not younger as an age, younger as an experience in tennis, to become regulars.
And young is in the eye of the beholder. So, okay, so before we close, what is it? Can you share with our viewers how they can learn more about your club and your tournament? So your social media, account names and all of that. And we're going to start with you, Mojo, and then whoever wants to jump in next, so you can increase your followers and players and supporters and people having an awareness about what it is that you do. So, Mojo?
Yeah, so we have a website called austintennisclub.com. We're also linked into the social clubs from USTA, so people can find us through that. We have a social media presence. I will be honest with you, when I watch Houston's social media presence, they're much better at it than we are. We tend to not really do a lot of stuff on Instagram. We have a Facebook page, but we usually use that as hey, we need 2 more people for tonight, not as a what we're doing. And then on our website, there's an events page where you can go see any social activity that's going on. Every month, we have one big social event that we're doing, it has nothing to do with tennis. Or it could be something to do with tennis, but not with playing tennis. It'll be going to watch tennis or going out. So our website's kind of our key driver right now. We have all of the social media accounts, but I'm just going to be honest with you, that's not our strength. I will tell you that watching Houston's page and watching what they do, I feel like that's one of their strengths. So they probably get some attendance just from that. We could be better at it. And then I guess just in general, there was a third part to the question. Am I missing it, Erica, or did I cover it?
Oh, just whatever you want to share about how people can learn more about your website, any social media.
Yeah. I think
phone number or anything.
Yeah, our website's the best way to go because we have people monitoring the chat and being able to talk to people when they sign up. It's the most reliable solution, and we do update things on there as things come in and out. So, and we've gotten a lot better as our website's gotten a lot better over the years. 5 years ago, it was pretty abysmal. But now it's actually a functioning website. You can see all of there's groups and bulletin boards and things like that where you can go find more information once you stumble upon us. We also do the Pride events here. We have a booth at the Pride event. We try to get involved in some of the USTA things that are going on here and make sure that they know about our organization, and a lot of it's word of mouth. So, awesome.
I'll go next. To piggyback off of Mojo, we in San Antonio can certainly do a lot better with our social media because we do have a Facebook page. We have our website, tennisclubofsanantonio.com. I know that I've been on 2 years as a tournament director, and I had to the tennis club had to recreate a lot of things due to the previous board. So that's is where we're trying to learn now to get better. And I reached out to each of the tournament directors and board presidents, and they've been extremely helpful. And I can't thank them enough. And then the one thing that I kind of do myself outside of the box, but because of my line of work, I utilize social apps that I use for my job to promote my nonprofit services. But while I'm doing that, on the clock, I'm also looking at who might have a tennis ball, or say they're looking for a tennis player or they're interested in tennis, and I'll hit them up and say, hey, they might be visiting San Antonio, they might be visiting Austin, where I live outside of Austin, and I'll tell them about the GOTA. I'll tell them about the local organization from the town they're in. So I not only just try to promote San Antonio's club, but I started out in Austin. So and the guys, I kind of feel like we're just one big family. So if they are coming out of Dallas or someone's going to move to Dallas, I'll say, hey, look up Alter. Or if they're in Houston or nearby Houston, I'll say, look for them, and I'll give them somebody's name and phone number and say, hey, call this person. They'll tell you more about the club. So I try to at least do that since we're still trying to process and get better at our own social media. I try to at least utilize what I'm good at with my job to promote all the things that we do. I even did it with our tournament. Anybody that wanted to talk about it, it may have been a hookup app, but I was trying to hook them up to my tournament.
Philip, it looked like you were going to jump in. And then Nate, you're
Okay.
Well, Austin and San Antonio have already commented on our social media presence, which is great to hear because we did make that a point to improve this year. And our communications director, Andre, has done quite an amazing job of doing that. Multiple posts a week. We try to post our social flyers on there as well. As far as finding us, you can just Google, or not Google, on Facebook, you can just search Houston Tennis Club. It is a private club, just to kind of protect the privacy of those who may not be out yet. However, all you have to do is click request, and we're going to accept whoever and anybody you are. Also, our Instagram is going to be no space. It's going to be Houston Tennis Club, just how it's spelled. And then our biggest point of contact will also be our website. That is HoustonTennisClub.org. Looking at, sorry, I have all your questions in front of me out of nerves earlier today. But what I didn't get to touch on, what I wanted to touch on was what do we love most about tennis, kind of as a united front. I will say that the three others on this phone call that are the tournament directors, and much more than just tournament directors as I am, it seems to be like they're your biggest supporters, especially inside of the state of Texas. I know that Chris has been a tournament director much longer than I have, but this only being my second year, I know that I can call up any of the others on this phone call, and they're going to do anything that they can to help me out. If that's, hey, I don't know how to do this yet because I'm new to this, or hey, can I get you to, hey, can I get you to be the lines person on this court that's arguing? Anything small like that. So I think as like a collective amongst the four sister cities here in Texas, the sense of support is very big. And also what's really cool is I know that all four of us, Mojo hit on this earlier, but we all pick out a charity to donate to each year. And so that is what all of our proceeds from our tournaments go towards. So I know last year we did Out for Education, which is local here in Houston. And then we're partnering with a different one this year as well. But it's really cool to see that as, yes, we're competitive. Yes, we're probably even more so social. But at the end of the day, what this tournament does and what it kind of provides for others is huge. So I love that aspect of it.
And for Dallas, we do have a website, www.oltadallas.org, OLTA. We get our name from Oakland District in Dallas, which is where the most of the gay and lesbian owned restaurants, bars, retail outlets are located in the city of Dallas. And like I said, we started back in 1979. So since that was the predominantly gay area, they gave our name as that area in Dallas. That's why you don't see Dallas in our name. And I always have to say we're in Dallas, Texas, because a lot of people are like, Oakland, where is that? That could be anywhere. So, but it's oltadallas.org. And on that website, you'll find our days that we play tennis, the locations, the times. You'll find membership information about what it costs to join and the different membership levels that we have. You'll find events that we're going to have taking place throughout the year. And then you'll find information about our tournament as well. So that's a great start for us. It's primarily our only outlet. We do have a Facebook page, but it is private, as Philip mentioned, to protect, people in our group that are not out and, don't want that exposure. But you can look it up. I think it's just Oakland Tennis Association. And you can go on there and we will post primarily stuff about, we're looking to see who wants to play, or if there's something that's a social event that's taking place, we'll put a notification out there. But that's information that you can also get on our website. And then we also have a GroupMe group that you can be a part of. And all you have to do is request to be a part of that. And that gives you also information about what's going on with our club as well. And for our tournament, which is held every October, we do try to make sure that people are aware of what's going on. We try to provide a lot of different things for our tournament so that when they come to Dallas, they're not just playing tennis, they're also getting a sense of what the city is. So we have social events that take place in different parts of the city. We have a banquet that will raise money for our charity that we partner with, as the other tournaments also do. And then we also try to make sure that all the participants are fed well and given goodie bags so that they are, appreciative of coming and playing in our tournament and have a great time while they're here for that weekend, because we know that, you don't have to come and be a part of it. But we are very fortunate that you did, and we want to show our appreciation for you taking part of that. But yeah, look us up on our website. And if you want to be a part of it, all the officers' names are on there and our email addresses. You can contact any of us. We are always responsive to the emails that we get. And we always look forward to meeting new people and having people come out and join us. Oh, and one thing that I don't think we talked about is our Texas Cup competition, which I had mentioned to Erica. And it's like a rotating event similar to the Davis Cup, where each of the clubs forms a team and we compete against each other. And each city hosts it, once every 4 years. And it's a great event. And we have a lot of fun. We get together with all our sister cities, and we've made so many friends throughout these competitions and our clubs and our tournaments that it's like a family reunion every time we play these events, because, you know, it's like we're saying, hey, how you doing? What's been going on? We catch up on all the gossip and, and all the latest happenings that's going on in each of the cities. And then we get out and fight to the finish, you know.
And I did want to throw one little thing in too that I kind of forgot to mention about. So like Dallas this year had some amazing, so if you're new and you want to join GLTA and join the circuit and start playing, Dallas had some amazing hardware they handed out. Houston always does a great job, you know, San Antonio. So if you're new to tennis and you're wanting to get a really nice piece of hardware, if you win, come play our tournaments, because let me tell you, Dallas had made us step up our game this year here in Austin so we could try to compete with their trophies. It's all about like who's got the best hardware. So it can be kind of a fun game too. It's a little expensive for us, but it's worth it in the end to watch their faces when you pull it out. So
yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to let you guys know I'm working on something. I've been putting feelers out because I come originally from South Texas, and that's where tennis was big when I grew up. And there are some players that have come from my hometown in Corpus and the Portland area and organizing maybe a Coastal Bend team. And when we talked about that, I remember in my high school years, the Valley area, which is in Southwest Texas, they had every school from that area had a tremendous tennis team. So I've actually had some friends that moved back over there, and I put some feelers out over there to see if they can find out if they would be interested in creating a team in that area. So it wouldn't just be 4 of us, it could potentially be 16 in Texas. So I just want to let you guys know I've been just slowly, gradually working on getting feelers out. And I talked to from LTA, and he'd be willing to help collaborate and coordinate with that as well.
Thank you for that, Felix. And thank you, all of you, not only for joining us for this conversation and helping to create greater awareness about the LGBTQ tennis community in our state, but for everything that you're doing with your clubs and with your events. So congratulations on the successes that your clubs and your events have seen over the years. And thank you for contributing to the diversity, the sexual orientation, the identity of our section in terms of allowing people to have a space that they can build a sense of community, where they can feel safe, where they can burn some calories and maybe even more so enjoy the social side of the game. Because again, it's, at the end of the day, it's just about having fun. And if you win a few matches and win a nice trophy in the process, all the better. But really appreciate you all taking time to be with us. Philip, is your event, in addition to Dallas, still coming up before the end of the year?
Yes, our event this year is going to be November 10th through November 12th.
Okay, so October and November. So mark your calendars. Their contact information was shared earlier. So really excited that we can create more awareness about the great work that you all are doing. So thank you so much for joining me all for another Inclusive Perspectives from the Baseline conversation. Bye-bye.